Hello. The passage that this short study is about is Romans 13, verses 1 through 7. I won't read the whole passage to keep this presentation shorter, but I've scanned so all of it is visible if you want to just pause the video rather than look it up in your own copy of the Bible. What I want to focus on here is an aspect of this passage about let every person be subject to the governing authorities. Of course, Paul here teaches that governing authorities have a divine institution as governing authorities, not like divine right of kings or anything like that, but government in general has its existence due to the will of God. And not only is there this authority taught by the apostle here, but there is also a description of how rulers actually are. And this we want to make some sense of. Let me read verses 3 and 4, for example. For rulers are not a terror to good conduct, but to bad. Would you have no fear of him who is in authority? Then do what is good, and you will receive his approval. For he is God's servant for your good. Well, that's interesting because we can think in history of examples of rulers who, in fact, weren't like that at all. Bad rulers, shall we say. And then let's also review verse 6. For the same reason you also pay taxes, for the authorities are ministers of God, attending to this very thing. In other words, their proper task as rulers. Well, we all know that there have been bad rulers who have not attended to or been diligent about their task as they ought to. What do we make of this? Is Paul saying that rulers in general are good rulers and there are the bad apples, the exceptions? I don't think that sort of uncertain interpretation is quite what the apostle is getting at. Rather, whatever rule and authority the Christian is under, the default assumption should be similar to what Paul says in verses 3 and 4 and verse 6. It's what older writers have sometimes called a charitable presumption. Give them the benefit of the doubt. It is easier for us to obey and be in subjection to our rulers if we start out not with the assumption, well, they may be or are bad rulers, but we start out with the assumption that they are good rulers, fulfilling, as regards us, their divinely appointed task. Now, a charitable presumption can sometimes be overcome in the light of experience, but I think it's there, this charitable presumption that we ought to have about rulers, and I think this keys into the respect in general that the Christian ought to have for rulers. It's easier for us to respect them if we, in the default and in general, charitably presume that they are worthy of respect. And that, in fact, is how the apostle closes, of course. Respect to whom respect is due, honor to whom honor is due. Well, till next time.